So,
Right.
Happy New Year, everyone.
Happy New Year!
Woo! All right, so I will go ahead and pause this music. Dance for me, dance for me, dance for me. Oh. Mm. And the things you
Who
do
is
me.
that?
Oh. I don't know the name of it, but I loved it. It's like a monkey dance. I don't know, girl. Don't get me the line.
I'll tell you when.
All right. So we are live and in this thing. So how are you doing, Miss Nat C Jones?
I am doing well. Feeling good. So happy about 2021.
Yes, girl. Me
Did you
too.
hear a lot of fireworks in your neighborhood last night?
Yeah, everywhere I went, I heard fireworks.
my
And I
gosh.
thought they had died down a little bit. You know, whenever we got to where we were, because we went to one of Greg's friend's house for the new year to bring it in, and we thought it had died down. Girl, we get over here. Girl was like, "Oh, the fireworks should be fine." I said, "I don't think so." Girl, we get over here, boom, 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 boom. I'm like, see,
Yeah, it was
I
pretty
knew it
loud.
wasn't
I mean,
going.
our neighborhood had those Disney fireworks. I'm pretty sure that
Yeah,
wasn't legal, but
it was pretty intense.
they had
But you know, last year was something interesting. So yeah. So what did your new year consist of for so far?
Oh my gosh, it was so nothing serious. We were just doing what we do every night. Me and my husband in the room watching TV, chilling. And then we start hearing explosions, and I looked at my computer. I was like, "Oh snap, it's the new year." He was like, "Dang." And we ran outside and watched the fireworks, and I was like, "That was cool." Then we came back inside. Child, we didn't really care, but we were excited about just having 2021 happen. You know how you try to, like, you don't want to get too anxious about something, so you try to keep yourself occupied.
Mm-hmm.
Sneak up on you. That was our approach this year. So it snuck up on us. I ain't doing no countdown or nothing. When I saw 12, I
What?
said, "Oh
It
snap!"
almost snuck up on us because we was doing karaoke.
Mm-hmm.
And we was like, oh, 15 more minutes, let's do one more, you know. And then by the time we finished, it was like 30 seconds. And we was
Oh
like, oh my
wow,
gosh, it's almost time, let's count
that's
down. So we
good.
counted down from like when we caught on to it, we were like 26, 25.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was amazing, absolutely amazing. Like
Did you see the image of Times Square?
girl, I wasn't focused on nothing on that TV.
It was like a ghost town. Nobody was on the street.
I know. I noticed. I did notice there wasn't that many people there. I did notice that.
Ghost town.
But I am excited that we have arrived, and I am a firm believer that 2020 happened for a reason.
Yes.
You know, a lot of us, like I've heard people say things like, you know, I've been on the go for so long and I needed to finally, you know, slow it down. So it kind of made me slow down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there may have been people who weren't really spending a lot of time with their family because of whatever their job was.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of forced them to be home. People like myself, who was a busybody all over the place,
Yes.
you know, kind of force you to just sit back and evaluate some things. And although it was a lot of rough patches, rough things that happened, I think there was a lot of lessons to be learned. And I don't know if everyone has seen what I posted yesterday, but I just want to reiterate what I said because I like to focus on the positive.
Mm-hmm.
And basically I was like, what a trying year. But as I reflect, I refuse to focus on the negative. So here are 9 positive things 2020 challenged me to accomplish.
Mm-hmm.
1, keeping God first and trusting Him no matter how tough life got. 2, tapping into my creativity in order to keep my business afloat. 3, meeting new people and building new business relationships. 4, self-affirming my good qualities and attributes, because we all know we need that sometimes, because we can be our own worst enemy and our own worst critic. 5, getting comfortable with being uncomfortable in order to grow, because woo-wee, I was forced to do some things I was not ready to do or comfortable doing, but in order to grow, I had to do it. Number 6, freeing myself from my past so that I can move forward with my head held high. No longer living in the past, just moving forward. Number 7, starting a Chiquita Nicole Speaks podcast with the intention to uplift and empower listeners to take action rather than just talking about what they want and need to do. Because one thing that I've learned over the years is that a lot of us say what we need to do, what we want to do, and it's just empty words. Oh, I need to lose weight. Oh, I need to eat better. Oh, I need to stop buying this or whatever it may be. I need to read my Bible more. I need to whatever. But actually putting into action what those needs are is something that I think is very important. Number 8, obtaining my health coaching license and expanding my business. And number 9, mentoring teenage girls so they have a better chance at success in life as young women. And I have you to thank for that, Miss Girls. Woo, 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 woo. So I could have added so much more to that, but those are the things that I decided to focus on. And yes, last year felt like hell on earth, but rather than focusing on the obvious hardships of 2020, I preferred to focus on the great challenges that I overcame, so that I can carry them into 2021 and elevate from there. So I ask everyone who's coming with me, grab the positive, because it's so easy to latch on to the negative, especially if it outweighs the positive. But if you become intentional about grabbing the positive and taking it with you and bringing it into 2021, that will make this year more prosperous, because guess what? If you survived the crazy year in 2020, absolutely nothing can stop you from pushing through a year that is destined to be amazingly powerful. And I believe that this year is destined to be amazingly powerful, but it cannot be powerful if we don't put the work in. Yep. So what were your 9 positive things that you grabbed from 2020?
Real quick, before I say that, I'm seeing the Happy New Year sign. Is that what everybody's seeing?
Everybody's seeing that.
Okay, so they don't see us.
They see us in the top left, right corner, top right.
Oh, okay, good. I just want to make sure. Okay. So positives I took from 2020. 9. Oh, I definitely took. I learned patience.
Okay.
Number 1. And that was not a virtue that I had, that I've ever had.
I think we all had to learn patience.
Yeah, my whole life is I've always tried to figure out a way to not have to have patience. And so I guess it didn't work this time. So I definitely become more patient, and it's changed my life for the good. Another positive is just my relationship with my girls. My girls have been home with me since spring break of last year. Of last year. And we've become so close, and I've liked having that control, not so much control, but being the main person they're spending time with versus, them being at school most of the time and home not that much.
Right.
So I feel like we got closer in 2020.
That's good.
I learned how to set boundaries in 2020. I started anyway. I'm not super good at it, because in order to set boundaries, sometimes you can't do what you feel like doing. And I like to do what I feel like doing.
Right.
But you have to do what makes sense and what's going to work for your goals. So I learned how to set boundaries. I learned how to grieve in a healthy way. So my grandma passed in 2020, and I got closer to my family because we just all shared the grief, and it just brought us closer instead of trying to cover up how we felt. We shared in the grief, and it brought us closer. I learned how to pray in 2020.
Yes.
Better.
Yes.
And did I say patience? I want to make that another one.
You said that number one. You said that first.
Yeah, I want to say that again. And I learned how to, what's the word? Not just patience, but stay calm when everybody's freaking out. Yes. What is that called? That's peace. To not be anxious. I learned that. How to actually just slow my breathing down, slow how fast I'm moving down, so I can just not, get overwhelmed.
Right.
And lastly, I learned how to let people go.
Okay.
Yeah.
And that's not always an easy one either.
I think it's unnaturally easy for me. It's uncanny how easy it is for me to let people go.
I mean, it's easy for me too, but a lot of times it's hard to deal with the repercussions of letting people go. Maybe I should say that. Well, for me anyway, because it can be rough. So yeah. Well, I am gonna do this. So this is something that we did last year, and I think that it was very beneficial, and I thoroughly enjoyed that. So just like we did last year, we're going to talk about our top 20 goals, which it's my 10 and your 10.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, I didn't supposed to have 21. I only got 10.
No, okay. No, just 20, not 21. But basically, I have to be transparent and say that this time around, it was not as easy for me to just jot down 10 goals. Like, I really had to put some thought into it because 2020 forced me to do some things that I wasn't comfortable doing. And with that, I had to really be intentional about my goals this year. Like last year, I had a lot of business related goals, like getting my Zumba license, believe it or not, starting my podcast was not on my list of things. It was something that came to me later during the pandemic because my thoughts, I have so much in my head, and I just, I needed to talk about it and get it out. And so that was like a spur of the moment thing. And I had a few signs that was like, girl, you should do this. You have a lot you can share to empower and help others. So that wasn't an initial goal, but it happened in the midst of 2021. But a lot of my goals were business and work related. And I feel like this time jotting my goals down, because although we always say resolutions, I don't really like to say resolution because I feel like a resolution is like a temporary thing, just something that we say and that we try to go after, and then it's like a temporary fix. As soon as January is done, we drop it. And I feel like goals, for me, I'm a dreamer. So with me being a dreamer, if I say this is my goal, I'm going to do everything in my power to reach that goal. And I'm not going to just use January for it or the 1st. So I feel like there was a lot more soul searching and self goals that I needed to, like, I have a few business related goals, but the majority of my goals are, rebuilding myself and focusing on shaping myself. Because a lot of times we can throw ourselves into our jobs and everything, and we can forget about us or our family or the people that we love. And a lot of times, in order for the business side of things to be what it needs to be, we need to be what we need to be first. And I think that's why it was a little bit harder for me to come up with my 10 goals. I was like, I got to number 3 and I was like, man, what else do I need to put down? Like, did you have that same experience?
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Did you have that same experience? Like, was it easy for you to come up with your 10 goals or?
No, it wasn't. I think, I don't know if I got numb in 2020 where I started. I don't know. I feel like 2020, like, I don't want to say we came out of 2020 with PTSD, but I feel like it was so traumatic that for some of us, it just kind of caused us to press the pause button or to go numb and to not even think about what could happen positively.
Right.
So I think it took a lot more energy to press forward and say, no, some good things can happen next year, because we've just seen so much bad in 2020. So I think it took a lot more effort to push through the negativity that we've been experiencing to come up with those things than it was last year, because 2019 was fine. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Going into 2020, we're like, oh yeah, it's gonna keep being great, but this time it's like, I hope it's great next year.
I know, right?
It's kind of bad.
It's weird because Greg said something. I was like, listen, we can't speak that into the universe. But he was like, we're praying that, 2021 was the year of the pandemic and not a decade of the pandemic. And I'm like, listen, we're not even gonna speak that. But I guess in his defense, we probably have come to that mindset, because it's like, when are things gonna go back to the way that they were? And it's like, is it even really gonna go back to the way it was, or is this the norm? Because now a lot of people are very fearful. You have some of those who are just like, I'm not gonna, like me, I refuse to live my life in fear.
Right.
I refuse to do it, because you only get one chance to live, and I'm not going to live my life in fear of something that came upon the world, upon the earth, and just destroy everything. Like, no, I'm not doing that, because you can't enjoy life. You can't, in my opinion, you can't enjoy life living it in fear.
No, you can't.
I refuse to do that. But there are a lot of people who live their lives in fear. They won't go anywhere, and they're like, even if they open up things, like, how do we know? Like, really and truly, you don't know. You don't. But if you live your life paranoid, you're gonna always be on eggshells. And I'm like, no, that's not something that I want to do.
This is why a relationship with God is so important to me. If you have a relationship with God, no matter what comes, you can coast, you know what I mean?
Right.
You may not be going up, but you won't go back. And you can kind of just chill and kind of just be an observer, like, okay, this is off the chain, but I'm good, And fear, I have a bone to pick with fear. And
I know that's right.
I'm not into it, and I don't like it when other people are fearful, and I try to stay away from people who are fearful. But if they want to get out of the fear, try to help them. But some people just like it. So if you like it, we can't be friends. I can't do that. It's just too much.
Right. Yeah, so, I mean, I'm glad it wasn't just me, because when I was writing mine, I was like,
yeah,
why is it so tough? But you know what? We're going to go ahead and dive into it. And another thing I noticed,
what?
When we did our video last year, like, of course, we're doing it via Zoom this time. And, thankfully, 2020 allowed me to learn how to master Zoom. I would have never knew how to do any of this stuff.
That's
like
true.
Going live on Zoom. What?
Yeah.
But I tapped into, like, me, I love to study and educate myself and learn. So basically, this is something that I learned. But even when I'm comparing our video from 2020 New Year and then 2021 New Year, we were all bubbly. We were like outside, like making jokes and just like, ooh, we did this in 2019, and 2020 gonna be a year of prosperity and And now we just really deep in thought, like, okay, what can we do to make this year worth our while? Because really and truly, we can be excited about transitioning into a new year and letting the 2020 go, but we have to be cautious to not carry the negative mentality from 2020 into this new year, or we're going to find ourselves right back where we started. And that's what I think is important. I think it's important to be mindful of that, because 2021 is not going to be any better if we don't shape ourselves in a way to make it better. Like, we can't control circumstances and we can't control tragedies. We can't control those things. But what we can control is our responses to it and how we navigate through the year. And so that's what I put in my mind frame when I was coming up with my goals. So I think it's really
It's symbolic. Okay, it being a new year right now is symbolic, but it's really another day in our lives.
Yep.
2020 was last year. 2021 is not. I think some people feel like because it's a new year that something's gonna shift and everything's gonna be okay. No, you're gonna still have challenges, but you can choose that. Okay, starting today, I'm gonna handle things a better way than I did last year. That's the only thing we can control about 2021 is how we respond to what happens. But it's not gonna magically be like, oh, this was a good year. No, it was a good year because of how you handled it, or it was a bad year because of the way you handled whatever came.
Exactly. And I think if nothing else, 2020, if we really evaluate, 2020 gave us the opportunity to learn how to handle hardships, because there was a lot of hardships. A lot of people got sick. Me, I was one of them. And I would have never thought it would have happened to me. I did what I needed to do to keep myself safe, but like it's in the air. You know what I'm saying? It's airborne. So you can wear your mask, you can whatever, but if it's meant for you to get it, you're gonna get it. And all we can do is just take care of ourselves before that happens, and then we can beat it, And a lot of people use it as an opportunity to be like, oh my gosh, I'm glad I'm still here. Let me continue to do what I need to do to make my health the way it should be, because you don't want something like that taking you out if you can help it.
Right.
And nobody, all the tragedies that happened, like I could list them. None of it was planned. And for me, I was telling Greg last night, and for those of you who don't know who Greg is, because I keep saying his name like y'all know him, that's my man, okay? But I said to him last night, I said, I would much rather a year start off rocky and then flourish in the end than for it to start off great and then turn into what happened last year. So it's like last year we were all on a high. We were all like, careless, having whatever. And then boom, it happened so fast we didn't even have time to react. All I know is people was fighting over some dang on toilet paper, which I still to this day don't understand. But it happened so fast, it was worse than a hurricane situation, you know what I'm saying? But now it's like people are being cautious and aware and things like that. And I'm hoping that with that, things can kind of navigate and be a little better. People are more cognizant of what's going on around them, because really and truly, if we're being honest, the 6 feet social distancing stuff, we should have been doing that all along, because I do it. I've been doing it before the pandemic.
I just want to let everybody know that Chiquita goes up and down stairs without touching the rails because she doesn't want to. The first time I saw you do this, I was like, what is she doing? Like, she has great balance. My balance is terrible, so I have to touch the rails. And she was just like, her hands were aside. I said, why aren't you using the rails?
Yeah, no.
Like, now it's germs on it. I was like, oh.
Yeah, no. And the thing is, for me, I feel like if I were to go to the DMV and I have my boys with me and there are 4 seats and a person, I'm gonna skip a seat, and then I'm gonna really have an attitude if somebody sit right next to me when it's another. Like, I don't like being up on people, and then when I'm in the grocery line at the store and someone's right up on me, I'm turning and looking at them like, can you back up? You in my space. So
everybody has their own comfort level with distance. My youngest child, Avery, has no sense of personal space at all, and some people need about 6 feet or 3.
That's me. I need 6 feet. Unless we intimate like that, I don't need you in my space, because I'm gonna feel like.
I went to the movie theater by myself one time because I'm an only child and I do weird stuff like that. And then you don't have.
That's not weird. I'm not an only child and I do it.
Yeah, I don't like sharing no popcorn. So I'm there in the middle of the day, and this man comes in. It was hardly anybody in the theater, and he sat right next to me. Nobody else was in the theater. I was like, this is serial killer mode. You know what I'm saying? So I'm trying to think of how can I hit him in his whatever and get out quick. I had to climb over. I said, sir, excuse me. I had to get up and go sit somewhere else. It was so creepy. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about.
It really does, because that's your personal space. If you don't know him, why he had to sit right next to you. I would have got up and moved too. That's weird. But I just feel like the 6 feet thing is something that should always be. And now we don't have to worry about people being offended if we ask them to back up because it's norm now, you know. But for me, I was just like, I have a bubble and it's like this big. So, you know, so yeah. But I think, did I go first last time when we did our goals?
Probably.
I did. Okay, so we gonna let you go first this time.
Oh, so, okay.
So we gonna do our 10 goals, and I have a bonus. I have a bonus as well. So I guess that will make my 11 to make.
Okay, well you need to go first then, so you can be like you, and then you start and you end it.
Oh, are we doing that? Okay.
No, because then otherwise you're gonna have to do 2 in a row at the end.
Okay, yeah, that's true. All right, so how you want to do this? Give our goal and explain why, or just give our goal? What we doing? Just go with the flow.
We could do a little blurb if it's you know it needs explanation.
Okay. Well, the first goal I put on my list is to forgive myself and others. That is, forgiveness is a very touchy subject for me because there are times when you think you forgave somebody, but then you question if you really did because of how you handle certain situations. Mm-hmm. So for me, I want to work on learning what true forgiveness is.
Okay.
You know, and learn how to forgive myself of mistakes that I may have made and move forward because nobody's perfect.
That's right.
So that's my number one.
Well, as usual, my number one is comparison to your number one is not as deep as it should be.
Oh, Lord.
My number one is to learn Spanish for real this time and teach my girls so that we can be fluent in Spanish. By the end of 2021, I want me and my girls to be fluent in Spanish.
You go ahead.
Because I've started it at times and then I just lost interest and something else came up. You know, we don't have a whole lot of time, but it's something I really, really want to do. I want to be fluent, and I want my girls to be fluent in that language.
Yeah, that's good. That's not my goal. But that's a great goal. Great goal.
Yeah, it takes consistency.
It does.
Doing things that aren't necessarily fun. And my husband's good at that, but I'm not as good at that.
I'm not either. I would be like the person that was born in another country and come over to the States and be like, I like speaking my language, so I would be that person.
I got 2 friends because they're the only ones that speak my language. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. All right, so my number 2 is kind of piggybacking off, if that's even a word, piggybacking.
It is today.
Okay, we're gonna make it that. So my number 2 kind of piggybacks off of the first one, and is to leave the past where it is and move forward. In 2021, that year was for me a year of freeing myself from things that I held in for numerous years, and I think that I've accomplished that freedom. And with the freedom now, I want to work on leaving that where it is and moving forward. So like I said, you know, in the beginning, I can move on with life with my head held high, not feeling any bitterness towards anyone, and just being the happy, bubbly person that I naturally am. So that's my number 2.
Okay. My number 2 is to learn Chinese and teach my girls.
Girl, now that one, I'm gonna be laughing at you. What you saying?
I find Chinese a lot more interesting than Spanish, and I think it's because people looking at me might expect me to know Spanish because I'm light skinned, but nobody would expect me to know Chinese. I just really enjoy throwing people off guard, and I like being different than what I look like.
Yeah.
So I want me and my girls to learn that. I started learning that too a while ago, and that was actually
hard one to read though, because it's like art. Their language is like art.
Huh?
I said that's a hard one to read because that's like their language is like art.
It's hard to read, but it's not hard to speak. I mean, from what I learned when I started, it was fun. If you have an ear for sound, and or like a singer would do well, because they don't have as many characters or as many, I think it's as many words, but it's the way you say it. If they just shifted a little bit, it'll become a completely different word.
Right.
So I was really interested in that. I'll probably end up finishing that before Spanish, but I'm done with languages after this, but I definitely want to learn Spanish and Chinese.
So your second one piggybacked off your first one too.
It did.
Yeah, ain't that funny how that works?
Yeah, that's how your thoughts work.
Yeah. All right, so my number 3 one is a business related one. A lot of you know that I got my 𝓛𝓮𝓽𝓼 license last year. It used to be called Strong by Zumba, which is like a high intensity muscle conditioning type workout class, body weights, calisthenics, all that great stuff to the beat of music, which everyone who knows me know I love. But this year, I want to get my Zumba license. I already pretty much teach Zumba. I call it Sassy, what do I call it? Dance cardio, Sassy Fit dance cardio. But I want to actually get my license for that so that I can, teach in other places, gyms, wherever, and just add my own flavor to it, and I'll be licensed. So,
all right.
Yeah. What about you?
My number 3 is businessy. I have a nonprofit called the Community Life Improvement Center, also known as the CLIC, and the goal is to make CLIC financially independent and sustainable. Yes. And so I want that because we've had a lot of trouble with our grant in 2020 and waiting on people to send you money that they said they're going to send you. I don't like having to wait and slow down what I'm doing because other people aren't doing what they're supposed to do. Right. So even though we're a nonprofit, I want to create a revenue model that will generate income that will pay the staff and pay the operation expenses without having to wait on grant money, because they give it to you when they feel like it. Even if they said they would do it at a certain time, what you gonna do? It's free money. So I want the grant money to be extra and for us to have our own business that's like a for-profit arm that feeds the needs of the nonprofit. So I'm really excited about setting that up in 2021.
I like it. That's I'm all the way on board with CLIC. So yes, ma'am. You win, we win,
get a
right?
tattoo. That's what I need to do.
You gonna throw that on your bonus?
Okay, I'm gonna get a CLIC tattoo.
All right, so my number 4, I'm skipping. My number 4 goal is personal, to study my Bible more, because it kind of piggybacks off of number 1, where I wanted to forgive myself and others and learn more about forgiveness. So I believe that I found this contemporary Bible on, what is it called? Audible. On Audible.
I love Audible.
Yes, and so I can listen to it like whenever I have to drive far. I love music, but sometimes I get lost in my thoughts, and it's just good for me to listen to positive things. And sometimes I'll turn on a podcast or YouTube, and in this case, I can study my Bible on the road. Yep. And so I'm really serious about this forgiveness and moving forward. So if I can dive into that and just try to grow that way, that's what I want to do.
The Bible help you forgive. I think God the only one that can show you how to do it. What's interesting is my number 4 is spiritual as well, and it says to get closer to God so that I can discern His will quickly. So I don't like wasting time. I always feel like I want to know exactly what I need to do so I can do it. And the further we are from God, we end up having to play a lot of like the guessing game. Well, let's do the process of elimination, or let's just try this. And if it fails, okay, then that means I wasn't supposed to do that. When if you, I believe, have a close relationship with God, He will literally tell you this is the right way and don't go that way. And you can avoid a lot of the 𝓛𝓮𝓼𝓼. I just made that word up. So you're not wasting time. So I've wasted a lot of time in the past just trying stuff that I wanted to try. And hoping that it was in God's will, because if it's not going to work long term.
Right.
So I'm like, you know what? I just need to get right up under my daddy so that he can just let me know before I even make a move. Don't do that. Or yeah, that's a good idea. You know what I mean? Yeah, that's a great one. And having the spirit of discernment is a tough one. And I'm hoping, that
in my studies that I can get that as well, because a lot of times, at least for me, I question my discernment, like, am I tripping? I know you of all people hear me say that a lot, like, am I tripping?
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I seeing what I think I'm seeing?
Mm-hmm.
Or is this meaning what I think it should mean? So it's like the question of the intuition, and you try to follow it and you just don't know, and having that clarity is very important. And I think it also provides a sense of peace because you don't have to question things.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a great goal.
And I think just being human, we're never going to know for sure. And we're not going to know 100% of what to do 100% of the time.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if we can get to the place where most of the time we're clear, then we're in a good space, because only God knows everything.
That part.
So I think it's good that you have the kind of humility to go to a friend and say, okay, I just want to check. Because the Bible says there's safety in a multitude of counsel, which means if you just out here doing whatever and nobody has your ear, you're going to mess up because you're human.
Right.
So it's good that you have that practice with certain people to say, okay, I just want to run this past you. Just make sure we good and I'm not tripping, because I do the same thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's good too. So my next one, a lot of you probably already know this one, but my number 5 goal is to compete in April. I have been training for this competition since June of last year. And I am close to 12 weeks away from competition, and I'm seeing some great results. And my coach is hoping for me to get nationally qualified this year. So I am kicking my own butt.
You can do it.
Yeah, because if I can get nationally qualified, then I can compete in a national show and have an opportunity to go pro and be like, I'm a professional athlete in the natural division, but if I can be a professional athlete in the NPC where basically anything goes, and I'm a natural athlete, that's saying something, because that means that I'm straight hard work and I can stand up against people who potentially may have some, enhancements, and nothing against them to do. I'm not here to shame anyone. That's their prerogative, but I don't do that. Everything I do is all natural and hard work, and trust and let me tell you, when I say my legs have had it, but I keep going because I have a goal to reach, and it's not easy, but I know that nothing worth having is going to come easy. So that's my goal for anyone who wants to attend. I will keep you guys updated. It is April the 3rd. It's a Saturday.
I want to attend. I was just going to ask you, can I see?
Of course. It's right here in Orlando. It's going to be at the convention center. When I get all the details, I'll let you all know. I always invite people to the finals, because the preliminaries in the morning, to me, it's kind of boring, because the judges are just judging your physique. The real excitement is at the finals, where everyone does their little routine, and then you find out who won based off of the preliminaries in the morning. So, I'll keep you guys posted on that. But
I'm gonna wear my TeamSassyFitness shirt and be like, check it out. We can't scream, can we?
Yes, girl, yes. People be bringing their horns and
I'm like,
yes. That's why I say finals is everything. It's exciting. But y'all just keep your girl in prayer, because when I tell you this girl is tired, but I'm prospering. I'm doing what I gotta do. So
you're looking good though. Seeing the photos.
Oh, thank you. My face is slimming down a lot.
It's going over.
Say that again.
I said I thought you had hit the pinnacle of fineness, but it's like, oh, you can even get more fine. Okay. That's
well,
great
thank you. I appreciate that. All right. So, what's your number 5?
My number 5 is about setting healthy boundaries for myself and for others in my life. I want to teach my girls how to set boundaries. Like I said, that's something that I just recently started paying attention to. Mm-hmm. Like I shared with you, I have strong boundaries with people I don't know. But once I know you and we've hung out for a while, I have no boundaries. And that hasn't burned me too many times. If it did, I didn't care enough to notice. But I'm realizing now that I have more at stake and I have a lot more responsibility. I need to be careful about who knows what about me and about my business, and who has my time and my ear. So I'm paying closer attention now. And even family, just because you family doesn't mean that you get a lot of my time if you're not putting in the same effort as I am. I'm just kind of assessing all of my relationships. And there's a pastor named Darius Daniels who has a sermon called "Who's at the Table" or "Seated at the Table" or something to that effect. And it compares your life and your friends with Jesus and the disciples, and how he had different relationships with different people based on their strengths and weaknesses and what they contributed to what he was doing. Mm-hmm. So everybody, just because they're in your life, they shouldn't have the same access to you,
right?
And and the same access to your ears. So I'm working through that and excited about it.
That's awesome. That's everything, girl. And this, you do have to be careful who you share with. You really got to be careful, because there are people that are there to genuinely be that ear and help you, and then you have those that's just being nosy, that's just looking for some dirt to go spill, and you just really got to be careful. I'm the queen of setting boundaries. I've mastered that over the years, because I feel like people will only treat you the way you allow them. Mm-hmm. And I wasn't always strong in the boundary setting department. But as I always say, I practiced and I learned and I mastered. And people may not always like the boundaries, but at the end of the day, that's for them to sort out. You have to do what's best for you, and your time is valuable. And it is what it is. And I don't think I'm rude in my boundary setting. I just like, this is not something I'm going to tolerate, or this is my time frame of doing this. And I feel like you build healthy relationships that way, and then you also do well with like keeping your word. I'm a woman of my word. If I say I'm going to do something and I pencil you in, somebody can't come to me that same day and say, hey, can I do this on this day? And it happens to fall on the same day that you made plans with a friend, and you erase it and put them in. I will never do that. I'll be like, I'm sorry, I can't do it this time. I've already given my word and I'm going to be there. So that's just, boundaries really, it creates structure, and it's very beneficial. So that's a great one. All right, so my number 6 goal is to start season 2 of my podcast. As I mentioned before, 2020, I just started my podcast, 𝓛𝓮𝓽𝓼 Speaks, and the reason I call it that is because I have a lot that I feel like to share, and I like to uplift and empower others. And last year, like I said earlier, I did a lot focusing on being free and, doing episodes on things like that, setting boundaries. And, I did a lot of segments on boundaries. So this year I want to focus for season 2 on forgiveness and moving forward. And I know we already talked about, how we're going to do that, but I really think that that's a good topic to talk about, because it's not something that's easy to do. And a lot of times we have to remember that forgiveness isn't always for the other person. It's for ourselves, for our peace of mind, because if every time another person's name is mentioned, or you see that other person and you get this ill feeling, you're hurting yourself, and that person still has a hold on you. And that's something that is important to try to get past. And just because you forgive somebody don't mean y'all need to be BFFs. It's just, you, like my pastor said at church the other day, when you forgive a person, that just means that you can sleep at night without feeling any type of way when somebody says something about that person. Oh, okay, yeah, I wish him the best, So I think that's what's important. So that's my number 6. So what's your number 6?
So I'm trying to, can you hear me? Okay, so I need to go to my next one. I had to switch over to my phone because my computer was acting silly. Can you see me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So my next one, number 6, is to buy an investment property in my girl's name.
What?
Yeah,
Go ahead, girl.
It's my goal. It's always been my goal to have land and property. And so we have this house that we own outright in Apopka, and it's set us up to be able to, purchase an investment property. I want to get the right one in the right space, the great deal, and I will have that done before the end of 2021, potentially so that bringing in the kind of income that we need through rental, income, so that both myself and my husband could be entrepreneurs. Right now, I'm an entrepreneur. He's working, but we both are supposed to be entrepreneurs, but we need that cushion so that it'll be safe for us to do that. So I think getting a property is going to be it. So I'm really excited about that, and it's going to be in Micaiah Navy's name, the property.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, that's awesome because your daughters will be set up for success early on too.
That's the goal.
Yep. It's always good to try to, set your kids up for a good washing. I mean, washing. Where in the world did I get washing from? It's prosperity and success. So that's always good. Number 7 for me is business related. It's my goal to obtain 10 more clients. And the reason I say 10 more clients because I think it's important to be specific about what you want and what you desire. Because I can easily just say more clients, but I want 10 more clients because, that's going to help me at least have a start of where I need to be. So that's what I've been working on. A lot of people who know me, I'm a certified health coach, and I also do training, personal training. I do it via Zoom, and I do it in person, and I also teach classes at LA Fitness, and I'll be still doing my Sassy Fit camps. So, be on the lookout for those, but I'm looking to build clientele that I can train, educate, and coach to a healthy lifestyle of living. So emphasis on lifestyle because I don't do anything that's temporary. I believe in teaching a person so that they can use the tools that I provide and add it into their day-to-day lives and be able to understand why they're doing it. So that's my goal.
All right. Number 7 for me is to give away something big, like a car, to someone in need. Just like here. Yeah, I want to get my Oprah on. Okay, I have this deep desire to give big things to people that nobody has any business giving them. The kind of gifts that make people like cry and fall on the ground and snot.
Like, oh my gosh!
I want to be able to do that in 2021, right?
Like y'all did
something
me on
they really need.
I was looking like that was my thing.
Yeah. I really have a desire to do that for someone and for it to be in secret. Like, I don't want anybody to know. I don't want to put it on Facebook. I just want to know that I've acted as the provision of God for someone. He was able to use me and my resources to take care of someone and give him the glory for it.
That is awesome. So, yes.
That's what I want.
Good. It's a good feeling to help somebody in need, Because, I mean, it's just, you don't even have to publicize it. It's just the fact that in your heart, that you did something good for somebody and they benefited greatly from it. Like, that's what it's all about. And that's awesome.
Yep. It's getting dark out.
Yeah, I see that. I'm like, man, that's getting dark quick. But
I know, you couldn't see me.
I can see you, but, I see you better now.
Okay. I'm like, I thought I was bright enough to hold up that room. That room got real dark.
My computer screen helping me out right now.
Mm-hmm.
So, my number 8 is to start a fitness boot camp for Click. I think we talked about it a little bit. So,
yeah.
I believe, if I can throw fitness in every aspect of the world, I would. Like, we've always talked about me being the Beyonce of health and fitness, and I'm still on my journey.
That's right.
You know, so like, you know how passionate I am about health and fitness and just people doing the right thing and learn and knowing why. Because people, I have conversations with people all the time and they just have no idea where to start. And I'm like, oh, you need a coach? I got you, you know, because I am passionate about educating. It's not just about training you in the gym. Anybody can go to the gym and work out. They might not know what they're doing, but anybody can do that.
Right.
But it's about actually knowing why you're doing what you're doing. And why you need to eat a certain way and why you need to supplement a certain way. And so starting a fitness boot camp for Click is one of my goals. And being that, you know, we're having teenagers there, I believe we need to teach them young. Because, you know, a lot of times women don't really dive into working out. And this isn't always the case, but there are cases where they don't start working out until later on in life after they have kids and they want to lose weight and they really take it serious and then they learn about it. But if they can know that as a teenager and carry that into their adult life and set themselves up to live a little bit longer and then teach their children better habits, like it could just be a ripple effect of positivity. You know what I'm saying? Good living.
Yep.
So that's my number 8.
Okay. My number 8. Let me get back to it here. Get out of the way. Okay. Is to decorate my home exactly the way I want it.
Yeah.
So I went real deep, then I came back to the shallow end. I was given this home by my mom, and it was such a blessing. And in the beginning, it still didn't feel like it was mine because we have very different tastes. And so, and I didn't want to change it. I was just so grateful that God had blessed us the way that He did. But now I'm like, okay, it's feeling like home now. And so I want to make it look like my home and what I would enjoy. And so I'm excited about that because I love doing interior decorating and design and all that kind of stuff. So I want to just have fun with it and make it look the way I want it to look. And if I do that, I'll probably never leave the house.
Yeah, I'm gonna need you to, you know, we talked about it a little bit. I'm gonna need you for that. For the interior. It's like I have all these ideas of what I want, but actually knowing how to do it, that's a whole other thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm gonna be like, yeah, you wanna do a project?
It's super fun for me. I'm all.
Girl, why you mute yourself? Unmute your computer. There you go.
I didn't know if I needed my.
I muted you on the phone
and my computer. Okay.
Yeah, you good.
This is my back. You see me twice?
No, I see you twice, but on the computer, only the unmuted part is showing, so you're good.
Okay, cool.
You don't have to change anything. Yeah. So my number 9 is kind of piggybacking off of number 8. I guess we established that that's a word today. It's to start a fitness program at my church. I had a conversation with someone at my church, and the way it went was that there are so many ministries in the church. We have, you know, a ministry for sewing, a ministry for giving gift baskets, a ministry for singing, a ministry for pretty much everything. And the one ministry that's missing is health and fitness, health and wellness. And I think that's something that is needed in the church and something that is missing. A lot of time, you know, we talk about our body being holy and being the temple and, you know, all these things, but we're not really doing what we need to do to take care of it. So it's my desire, and it has been my desire for a long time, to bring a fitness program to the church that I am at. And if someone else wants me to come host any fitness things at their church, I'm more than willing. But this is just something that I've always felt like was missing. And I want to change that mode, change that stigma, change whatever the word is. I want to change it and make it better, because that's something that we need to do. Like, we have all these cookouts, and then we eat all these things that are not good for us, and then we wonder why we don't have the energy to praise on the praise team because we're out of breath, or we're overweight or whatever it is. So I just think that it's very good to just educate and provide a means for people to come do a workout, even if it's just once a week. And if they want to join my program, they can. But I want to offer my services as like a nonprofit type of thing and just give back in that way, because I think that it's very important for people to have.
I think that could be like ministry, Chiquita. Honestly, I think if you start, as you're getting closer to God and you're spending more time in the Word, start looking for, those things in the Bible that talk about diet or how to take care of the body, because there's some stuff in there. And I know there's a scripture, I think it's Proverbs 31, that talks about a virtuous woman keeping her arms strong.
Yep.
And it's little things like that we have to look for in the Bible, because it doesn't always spell everything out. But that's something I've always been concerned about. People in the church and in Christianity, we pick our favorite sins, but we don't talk about gluttony because we all like to eat. And after church, we all go to the buffet and everybody's big and then everybody's on medication and nobody feels any kind of conviction about that.
Right.
They want to talk about people who drink and smoke and all this kind of stuff. And it's
exactly.
Like, well, you can't, eat the way you eat and not take care of yourself and then come to the altar and ask for healing when you haven't participated, when God has given you everything that you need to live healed. So I think there's a wonderful opportunity for you to do that and I think God would be definitely pleased. I'm sure he's concerned about the health of people in the kingdom. So I think, you got my full support with that.
Yeah, and I honestly think that's my calling. Like, I know I had mentioned in 2019, that I finally found my purpose. And, fitness has saved me in so many ways, and mentally, physically, emotionally, everything. And I just am very passionate about it. And I feel like that's my calling, to educate people and teaching them how to live a healthy lifestyle. And like you said, it's something that's missing. People go out and eat and you don't understand what it does to me when I do hear people go to the altar and say, pray for me, I have to go to the hospital because my diabetes is out of whack, or my blood pressure is through the roof. And I so badly want to ask, like, what are you eating? What are you doing? What is your lifestyle like? And then it frustrates me even more when I tell them, how they can do things better. And they're like, oh, I don't want to. Well, then you want to stay sick. And I try to tell people, if you don't make time for your health and wellness now, you'll be forced to pay for it later.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And who wants to have a doctor bill that they can avoid?
Yeah.
Who wants to live on medication that can kill you?
Yeah. And, a part of that pitch could also be, because a lot of Christians just believe, well, who cares about what's going on now? I'm just trying to get to heaven. No, you want to live the best life you can while you're here.
Exactly.
We're not trying to get, die early so we can get to heaven. We want to be here and we have a lot to do. God has given us an assignment and we can't do it if our bodies are failing us.
Exactly. And you can't say that you're treating your body like the temple that God gave you if you're beating it up.
That temple dirty.
Huh?
That temple dirty.
Yeah, I know, right? And the thing is, when this is my mindset, your body is fighting you and it's beating you up because you're not treating it right. It's just like in a relationship with a person. When you're not treating them right, they're going to argue with you. They're going to complain. They're going to leave. You know what I'm saying? They're going to do all these things to you because you're not being good to them. Right. And your body is fighting you because it's like, listen, apparently you don't care about me, so I guess I need to leave you. And guess what happens? You end up in the hospital, you end up sick because your body's like, I can't take it no more. You're being abusive. And that's my mindset when it comes, and people look at me, I know the people that really, they feel convicted, but they don't want to put the work in to do what they got to do, and they just kind of give me a blank stare. And I'm like, you may not like what I'm saying, but you have to admit I'm speaking the truth.
Well, it's about, you're going to be dealing with the culture of the church that has put all of the emphasis on spiritual things, which are really hard to quantify, you know what I mean?
Right.
And not very much on the flesh. Everything we talk about with the flesh is negative. But the point is, God gave us these bodies for a reason. We're not floating around in spirits because he wanted us to have bodies so that we could do things. that he wants us to do. So as long as you're in control of your flesh, you still need to take care of your flesh so that when it's time to do your assignment, you know, you can actually do it.
Right.
So I'm excited. I think that's a wonderful idea.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your number 9?
Number 9 for me is to create a Click Facilitators training course. Some of you may know I'm what is called a master facilitator. I've been facilitating for many years and I am very good at it. And it's a skill that I think I want to share with people because it brings people together and it helps groups of people to solve problems. And so I am I've actually already started working on the outline for a training course so that people can come through Click, learn how to facilitate and participate and co-facilitate some of our workshops and potentially just go out and make money on your own and facilitate things on your own. So I'm just big on once you learn how to do something well, if it's good, you know, share it with other people if it can help their lives. So it's really been a blessing in my life and you make good money doing it.
Yeah, I can believe that.
Mm-hmm. It's really the best money I ever made.
That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
So my last goal, see, I knew you should have went first because then you're going to go and then I'm going to go again, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you're right.
I got one more.
So number 10 for me is to continue motivating and empowering others. Like I mentioned in my last goal, you know, it's always been important to me to uplift people because a lot of times we don't realize how many people have been torn down for majority of their lives or how many people lack self-esteem because of what they think of themselves. And the thing that I don't think people realize is like some of the thoughts that we have in our heads, if people talk to us the way we talk to ourselves in our head, we would want to fight them.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't realize, like, why would we talk to ourselves or tear our own selves down, but we won't let nobody else do it to us. And so, you know, it's my desire to continue empowering people to be positive and have a positive mindset. And that's why when I was talking about, you know, my thoughts on 2020, I didn't even write anything about the negative because it's obvious. I didn't feel like it was necessary to harp on the already obvious things that happened in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
I would rather focus on how those things challenged me to do better. And that's what I like to do. So with my podcast, with my YouTube channel, plug youtube.com/TeamSassyFitness
Mm-hmm.
and podcast Chiquita Nicole Speaks, which is also on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you want to find it, it's there. Those are the platforms that I utilize to speak, and maybe one day I'll have the courage to do a live talking moment, but right now this is what I'm using to empower and motivate others, and through fitness is my biggest thing that I do. So that's my number 10.
Through. My last one is to have a Click product line, and
Wow,
that is, you know how, you know, when you look back over your life and you see all the interests that you've had, and then you get to a certain age and it all kind of starts to come together. Mm-hmm. And so Click is that for me. I've had so many different interests and now they all fit into Click, and they have become kind of their own programs and arms of Click, and it's really exciting for me. So the product line, I used to want to be a fashion designer back when I was young. But that's not a desire of mine now. But I understand what clothing does for
Mm-hmm.
people and self-esteem. And so I'm working with the artist Mark Bays, who he illustrated the first book that we published, Far Away and Very Near, which is a children's book.
He did amazing.
And he's working as a staff member of Click right now, creating artwork that can be put on t-shirts, notebooks, and things like that. And so I want to, Click is our mission is to change the narrative about people such as young people, women, Black people, and low-income people to change the narrative about them in America, and using media and transformational workshops as a way to do that. So we have an internal narrative and we have an external narrative. The internal narrative is what we think about ourselves, and the external narrative is what other people think about us. And so we want to shift that narrative, both of those narratives, and make it something positive and powerful for the people in America who have the most challenges. And so artwork is a cool way to do that. And I want to create a product line, again, that creates a revenue stream for Click that will allow us to be financially independent from government grants. So I'm really excited about that. It's going to take a lot of work, but we're going to have that done by the end of the year, before the end of the year.
Okay, I love that. Go ahead, girl.
Yee.
So I'm going to go ahead, since we've gone through our 21-year 2021 resolution. I'm talking about 21-year child. So now we can utilize this moment for everyone to actually be able to see us without the pictures in the background. But this has been awesome, and I want to go ahead and share what my bonus is. I haven't talked much, if at all, about this particular goal, but basically I'm working on a book, right? And my final goal is to complete that book, and that book is my dream book. And I think I've talked to you a little bit about that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yes. So all I'm revealing right now is that it's a dream book. I'm not going to tell you the title of it or what it's about.
Oh.
But I will say that it's pretty much almost done. Huh?
Nothing.
Oh. So basically, I'm just gonna tell you that it's a dream book, and I am just about finished with it. I've transcribed the majority of it on my phone, like, you know, the recording. So there are several. I've typed it up, some of it, but majority of it is on my phone. And once I get it off the recording onto the paper, then I can edit and all that and fine tune and tweak. So I would like to have that book published by the end of the year. That's my goal. If I can get it published sooner, that's even better, but I'm gonna be smart and set a tangible goal for the end of the year to have that book completed and out, because I think it's gonna be great and interesting. So
yeah, definitely.
When it gets closer, then I'll reveal the title. But just know, it's a dream book.
It's a dream book.
Yeah.
Means.
So that's my bonus goal for the year. So I think this was great. And I know we seem a little bit more serious this time, but I just think that it's needed for us to really be intentional about our goals. Not that we weren't intentional before, but, you know, we were just in a different headspace. You know,
I'm more intentional now, for sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think, you know, last year, like I said, things were normal. Everybody was having a good time. So there was nothing to be, like, serious about. That's probably the wrong thing to say. Not that there wasn't anything to be serious about. We had a little bit more fun with it. But now it's like, okay, these are some things we really need to dive into in order to make sure that 2021 is great. So I challenge you, and I'm sure, Nat, you do too, is to come up with a list of 21 goals. You know, I have more than 11 goals, but, you know, for the sake of time, we did 10 and 11, which 21. So I think that it's good to do vision boards. I'm excited. I'm going to be doing mine on Sunday. That's something I really look forward to doing, because I'm pretty old school and I'm very visual. So I may have it up here, but if I see it and it's all pretty and designed, you know, I could easily have a list like this where I wrote it all down, you know, but to have it all on a big board with pictures and everything like that, and you can actually look at it every day and just check things off like, oh, I did this, I did that, girl, I'm killing it this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just awesome to have that, so you can see it and you can see what you actually accomplished, because we can be accomplishing things and not even know it because we didn't write it down. So my challenge for you all is to pull out a piece of paper, jot down 21 goals for 2021 that you are intentional about achieving, not a resolution that you're just going to sit up on the shelf whenever the time is right. A lot of us have weight loss goals, but we need to have something intentional. So what do you got to say about that?
Yes, I have this new theory, and I know I've been throwing God into the mix a lot, but I have this new theory that if, for those of you who are believers, the closer you are to God and the more time you spend with Him, and I'm glad that was one of your goals, the more likely your visions will come to fruition. Because then, He has a will for us, and then we have our own will, and we have our own ideas and the things that we want to do that may have nothing to do with what He created us for. The closer we get to Him, the more our desires and our will begin to align with what He designed for us in the beginning. So that is what I would say. Just make sure that you're spending time with God, spending time in the Word and prayer, so that your desires will be the right ones. And then you're not fighting against God to get stuff that you want. You know what I mean? Because you're not going to win the fight. Right. So, because sometimes we can want things that seem good, but it's not for us, and it's not in the plan. So you can end up wasting time, and you got to go back and, so
back to the drawing board.
Yeah, let's get it right the first time. Let's say, hey, God, you good with this? Are we cool? Okay, then this is what I'll do.
Right, and that's true too. And that all, it all falls back on like that. What was the word? That discernment and learning how to listen. And a lot of times, remember we said last year, sometimes you just got to be still. You just got to be still and listen.
And we froze.
So I just feel like, if we are intentional and we're still, 2020, if nothing else, forced us to be still. It really forced us to be still. So if we're still, when we're still, we can be quiet and we can listen. But if we're moving all over the place and, running around and just going about life without any real focus, we can't hear what we need to hear.
That's what 2020 did for us. Even with the pandemic, it made us focus. 2020 vision. There's nothing but your eyes showing. How can you not focus?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And we definitely said that. Focus. We took our glasses off.
We did our glasses and said focus. Yeah. Because it made people pay attention. We were just thinking we were invincible and doing whatever. And now we're like, okay, what's going on? And we're paying attention. So it's all going to work out for our good in the end.
Yep. And even though we had our own minds made up about what we thought 2020 was going to be, that 2020 vision, it happened. Just like you said, it forced us to focus because we wouldn't have been able to have our eyes wide open about things that we maybe needed to change in our lives. We needed to do better. People who thought for years about starting their own business and was too afraid to, but was forced to because they lost their jobs. Listen, when I tell you, if nothing else, 2020 forced us to focus.
Yeah.
And so with 2021, we have that focus, and now we can take that focus and listen and do what it is that God has destined for us to do.
Yes. Yeah, can we end this one with a prayer?
Oh, of course. Always.
We gotta be for real. 2021 plays no games. God got to be involved in everything that we do. So Father God, we come before you this evening. Thank you so much for this time together of planning and sharing our goals, God. And thank you for friendship between me and Chiquita and the other people who are watching, God. Thank you for the relationships that they have with people, and that those relationships will be healthy and beneficial to their purpose and not be relationships that drain them. God, we just thank you so much for allowing us to make it to 2021.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, we just appreciate your grace and your favor and your mercy in our lives. And God, we ask that you would teach us how to walk with you this year and how to not let go of your hand and how to desire your will above anything else and desire you above anyone else this year, God. And show us how that desire and that shift will bring us to a purpose where our greatest joys will be fulfilled. God, we thank you so much for all that you've done, what you're going to do, and what you're doing right now. In your son, Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. Yes, I receive all of that in the name of Jesus. Yes. Happy New Year. Yes. So we want to wish everyone a happy new year and just be intentional about making 2021 better. It won't be better if you aren't intentional about making it better. And I'm going to So until next time, Chiquita Nicole Sassy Fit and
Tata and Nat C Jones
is
I don't have a special name.
out. All right, y'all have a great one.